Namaste, Jagdish Ji.
Namaste.
So let's start with your small interview about the history of the Hindu temple of central Indiana. You can start telling your story now.
Well, thank you for coming, and I really appreciate that you, along with some other people, are interested in history of the temple. But before we go back to the actual history, as we all know, let me take you back a few years. Actually, the community of Indians in Indianapolis were very few. In the earlier years, in 60s, at that time, mostly were engineers, few doctors working at Med Center, IU Med Center, and there was one scientist worked for Pitchman Moore. And at that time, we knew only two people with families. They were married.
So this is in the 60s.
Back in 60s.
Now, if you can elaborate on, maybe you're coming to the US and just in a few sentences, that would be nice too.
Well, I came to US for study, and I came as an undergraduate student at Michigan Technological University in Houghton, Michigan, which is way up north in the cold country. And after graduation, in those days, jobs were not very easy to find. We had to make an application, and sometimes no response. So we had to really look around and come to the place and looking for a job. So somebody told me that there might be job openings in Indianapolis. So that's how I came here.
And what year was that?
That was back in early 60s.
Okay.
So found a job with the highway department and started working. And in those days, when you are walking downtown or any place, shopping centers, you see an Indian, you can talk to them. Or actually when you come to town, if you are a stranger, you look in the phone book, see if there is an Indian, call him up, say hello to him, and I'm sure he'll invite you and have him, he'll even tell you to stay with him. Well, few more people came about that time. Some of them were recent graduates like me. They were all engineers, and most of them were Gujaratis. So this went on for a few years. We used to get together for movies. We used to get a movie from New York or Chicago, pick it up from downtown, bus stand, show the movie over the weekend, and send it back. So this went on at IU Medical Center, of the lecture hall. So back in 67, we established India Association. We were some 30 people, and on a 5th floor of Union Building at the IU Med Center, we formally established India Association of Indianapolis. From then on, we started showing more movies, get together more often, showed some programs to the new community of Indians. We invited some people from out of town, and this went on, and we even had evenings, Friday evenings, spent with different families. About 11 families we used to get together and rotate. Friday evening was committed for that bhajan group and scriptures reading. So we read Mahabharat and celebrated Purnahuti of Mahabharat in, I think it was 1969 at Vimal Patel's house. And about that time, people were thinking that we should have a mandir. So we had some efforts, some meetings, but nothing came about. But about that time, more people who are, you can say, so people can start some kind of a chirag. So that thing started more momentum. And we really started thinking about temple. We looked at different places on the west side and made some decisions, but that didn't work out. About that time, I was involved with India Association. So being in the committee, we were also thinking that we should have a community center or something like that. So both India Association and our so-called religious group, we got together and see if we can do something collectively.
And this is which time
That
frame?
was in early 80s,
Okay.
late 70s, early 80s.
Mhm.
So about that time, we also thought about starting religious group, if nothing else. Mandir was also thought, but we started a religious group and we called it Gita Mandal. And that started in 1981, in the fall of 1981.
Mhm.
Originally we met at International Center on west side, just south of Butler campus. And we stayed there till 1985.
Mhm.
About that time, 84, I was the president of India Association, and we managed to get the land on the west side on 56th Street. And on that land, we actually constructed India Community Center. We had a center opening with Mayor Hudnut in presence, and lots of Indians were well at that time. Many Indians came, and we had a very, very vibrant program on that day. So with that so-called Khat Muhurat, the groundbreaking ceremony, we started the construction. And in 85 we finished the construction of the first phase. Then we had our first Gita Mandal meeting. We transferred everything from International Center to India Community Center.
And that was which year?
That was in 1985,
Okay.
April of 1985. And before we used to, just like now, we used to really say that we will support, we'll donate some money, we'll donate some funds, and we'll host it. So we used to take food from home, few families, and we used to distribute the prasad after the program. Program's format is just like what we have now. That program hasn't changed, with very minor ups and downs. We had invited lots of guests coming from India or even from this country. Some sant coming, some learned people came and they gave discourse.
Mhm.
This went on for quite a long time. Actually in 1993, late 90s, late 80s and early 90s, we managed to get Gita Mandal's Murti, Radha Krishna Murti. And we installed that Murti in the India Community Center, in that small location we had. And we had Ramesh Rajamuni came from Dayton Temple, and he did actual ceremony, installed the temple with full rituals, and we had quite a turnout, wonderful turnout. You can say that was more or less a beginning of more thoughts for an established temple, because this was not really established temple. This was a temple, you can say, where we met once a month for Gita Mandal, second Sunday, and also we opened that location of the small temple on Wednesday night. So we met Wednesday night, we rotated. We didn't have a priest at that time, so we all took turn, few of us, and we did small puja, followed by some bhajans and prasad. This went on until around 2000. 99, 2000, something like that. And where we had more people committed for some kind of a established location. And for that in mind, we had more people come in, we took lots of survey. And about that time, I'm sure some other people were thinking about a temple, which we were not aware of. But I'm sure something was going on in different groups. But at that time, some other people other than most Gujaratis and some North Indians, people from South, especially from Andhra Pradesh, Telugu people of course, Karnataka people, and from
Tamil Nadu?
Tamil Nadu. So people joined and we all collectively decided that we should have ad hoc committee. Dr. Ahuja was the first chairman. And at that time we managed to get representation from Bloomington, Bedford, Columbus, Indiana, and even sometimes from Fort Wayne, and people from Northwest.
So that again the time frame is now we are past 2000.
Past 2000. So we had lots of meetings from 2000, early 2000 to 2004. And then we had some idea that we should have a mandir. So we managed to get Muthayaji, who is a Shilpi from India. And he laid out the drawings for us. And his plan was that we build the front part, what we have now, up to the kitchen. So we built that 10,000 square feet area. And according to his plan, we were going to go towards west from that point on.
Now, so we are talking about the present land, but there was some other land also.
Oh yes, I'm glad you told me about that. We had been given offered a land on a post road south side. And we managed to have a big program on that one day, where we had some $1 million pledged. But the cost for doing the utilities, like water, sewer, was too much. So we had to really respectfully say that we cannot, accept this land for the temple. See, the same group of people managed to get another piece of land on German Church Road, which is what we have now, where we have mandir. And that was about 13-acre property. We saw the land, committee saw the land, and we all decided that it looks good. Originally it was a ballpark, and it was not in use. And it was relatively nice land. So we decided that we'll have a temple there. So in 2004, we found design-build contractor, and he started construction. And towards 2005, end of 2005, he finished it. In 2006, we brought our Radha Krishna Murti from India Community Center, which was on the west side, and brought that Murti, established it in February 2006 into the present temple area, in the front area of the temple. At that time, Murti was facing west, but that was the only location we could put the Murti in. Then, as you all know, things really started accelerating. More people gave the money, more people came forward, they took interest, more people became familiar with what's going on and what we intend to do. And they poured in more money, donations were coming in, and with the enough donation in hand now, we thought we can go for the second phase, which was extending the temple, actual temple. Muthayaji was not available due to some reasons. We tried many times. He not being available, we managed to get, again, Shilp Shastri people from South India, from Tamil Nadu. And they were from Shilp Kalaniketam. I think those were the group of people came here. We met them, we talked to them. They offered a different set of plan for us, which was slightly different than what Muthayaji had suggested. We looked at the plant and we liked it, we massaged it, lots of meeting. We got the local architect, engineer to do the drawings, and we had many meetings. We had many changes done from different groups. We showed to the community what we have and invited their inputs, their changes, their suggestions. And with all those things, around 2014, we managed to get a contract going for construction of the temple, 2013-2014. And the construction of the temple, as you see, was almost done in 2015. 2015, that construction was done with all the inside murti, also inside shrines, all the decoration outside, everything was done. So we managed to get the murti from India, marble murti as well as black granite murti. And as you all know, it was quite a time for us to get the murti released in the, I think it was Washington area someplace, Washington DC area. We had to get a permission from the immigration and customs and all that. So we managed to get that. That was quite a task. A lot of people were really, worried that maybe we were advertised for inauguration on a particular day in June, but maybe we might not be able to make it.
What was the challenge there? Why was it taking a long time?
Because the challenge was customs people were holding on what's in it, and they want to inspect everything. So with influence of few people, talk to congressmen and senators, we managed to get that thing released. All the, packages of cartons and everything came from East Coast by trucks. And by that time we had a group of people from Shilpis who were here, almost 30 people. They lived in the basement and they worked on the temple, all inside temple, all the decorations, all outside work, everything was done. So we managed to get all that done in 2015 June, and we had a grand celebration of inauguration on that day. But we find out that one murti was Khandit, and that was Saraswati murti. So we had to wait for that murti to arrive again in 2016. And during anniversary date in 2016, June, we actually had a program.
So what was the delay?
Delay was, it was the broken.
Oh.
Murti was broken. And according to the Shastras, we cannot install the broken murti. So this was done in 2016. Now you all can see how many people are visiting the temple. Traffic is quite a bit. On big occasions like Shivratri, Navratri, Diwali time, all these festival times, even when we have a temple fest to raise the money, we have lots of people coming. And we even wonder where the people are coming from. Are they here in town? Or are they coming from out of town? But surprising enough, more people are coming to the temple. They're just traveling through, or they're just visiting their friends or families. And they come and they really like the temple. They're really impressed. Now let me go back to one more incident.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2006 and 7, we all had to attend the temple in the morning because we still didn't have a priest. We had a priest, but he was not that available every time. So we had to fill in. Ram Belagaj and a few other people along with me. We used to, fill in that when the priest is not in the temple. And one time I was there, and some students came, and they said, curious to what's going on here. And I said, well, we are building a temple. And they came in, and I was surprised when I talked to them. They said, well, they're traveling through, and they just wanted to see something going on in the community.
What kind of students were they?
They were students traveling from Texas.
Indian students?
Indian students. So that was nice to really see that people, do travel through and see if there is a temple they want to come and visit, come for darshan and see what's going on. Another thing, back in 2000, early 2000, we really were building the temple for the first time. So we really didn't know what is involved. Some of us knew a little bit more than some of us We didn't know anything. So we visited quite a few temples. One of the temples we visited was in Detroit. And we got some information from the trustees there about what things to do and what not to do. They advised us, try to build the temple as big as you can because you will run out of the place inside. And with that in mind, we actually made the temple much bigger than what we really wanted to build. We really have gone over the budget, but we thank God that the community has come forward, they have donated money, and we don't have much loan to go now, less than $2 million.
So that was a very nice piece of advice that we followed.
I think so. I think that was something which I was under the impression that well, community will grow, but it would not grow to this extent. Actually, about that time, I made my own estimate, and my estimate was around $2 million. I was involved in the temple all throughout, so I knew what's number of people, and how many people are coming, how many people in the community. Not everybody, but I knew had some idea. So with that in mind, I thought that a couple $1 million should be enough. And where the money will come from, we projected who will give what they will give. And that with that money, then how to run the temple. So my idea was, again, that was very primitive idea of mine. We thought that we'll have maybe 2-3 families assigned each month to maintain the temple. So I said, well, what will it take to maintain the temple? Maybe $150 a month, something like that. So we had to have some budget. So we came out with that kind of a budget. But all that was not used, luckily. We managed to build a big temple, and temple is what we see. It's a shining example for the community, mayor, as well as some congressmen, and people who are really interested in Indian culture, Hindu culture. They are really encouraging us and helping us to continue living in this community, donating our time, our education efforts, and our expertise, and be part of the community.
So now it's 2019, right? What future do you see? What kind of future do you see for the temple and the community?
Well, I think that's a very good question. And after 2015 onwards, we have been looking out for buying some new land with the temple, adjoining the temple, or across. So we managed to get a big piece of land right across on German Church Road, on the east side of German Church Road. We also acquired 2 other pieces of land adjoining our temple right now. So we have enough area, acreage, to really expand and do many other things. The biggest thing right now is the parking. And the present trustee board is thinking about extending the parking lot. They haven't reached definite design on that yet, but that's one thing will be coming. Also, there is the thought of putting priest quarters in the same location, very close to the temple. That will be easy for the priest to serve the temple, and maybe even this is again my idea. If some Indian grocery store or something comes close by, that will also add number of people coming to the temple.
Mm-hmm.
So the traffic will be increased. So these are some of the ideas, and we long-term facility for the people who want to stay in this community. Because there are so many people you will find here who are here for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, or more even. And those people may not want to leave the city of Indianapolis.
Right.
You can say they grew up here and they want to stay here. So that's one more thought we have, So maybe someday we can put some kind of a home for the people to stay.
Exactly.
Yes.
Great. Since we're running short of time, it was so nice of you to explain the history from your point of view, and it's on record now. Thank you so much, Jagdish ji.
Thank
Namaste.
you, Sanjay. Sanjay, this is quite an honor for me to really, be with you and talk to you about what we know a little bit about history of the community of Indians in this city of Indianapolis. Wonderful city of Indianapolis.
Thank you and namaste.
Thank you. Namaskar.